geoholic.
Yep. Kicking it off the right way.
Like one of my favorite bands. I had no idea they're from Colorado.
Who is this?
Big Head Todd.
Oh, Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Yes. Anyways,
I hear it now. Yeah.
I just gave it away. We're back in Denver.
We are.
Geoweek 2025.
2025 Geoweek.
Apparently it's growing. We've all got Russ Hall with it.
Yeah. Russ is here.
Yes.
Yeah. We should have some more Geo family members around these parts today.
Will Weeks.
Mark Taylor's here.
Yes.
Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nick's at his booth. I just saw him.
Saw him?
Yes.
Sure, he's busy. That guy's always busy.
Yeah.
Building it up.
We're just missing PETA.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's here in spirit.
She's probably watching right now.
Oh, I'm sure she is. Yeah.
But anyway, great venue. It's bigger this year than last year.
Yeah.
220 sold it out. I don't know, 225 vendors, I think.
Would you say it's noticeably bigger than last year? It's my first one.
Yes.
I think that last year, like this area wasn't quite as filled out, and now it is. So
nice.
They have packed the entire room without a doubt.
Stuff and everything I've seen, all the seminars and stuff are legit. And we've seen Rami walking around. Everybody, all the players are here. And went to the RCN party last night.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Amazing. Can't thank those guys enough. Those guys always put on a good time. And last night was different. And like I said, all the faces were there.
Yes.
The geospatial influencers, as they like to call themselves.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Other than that, looking forward to a great first day.
And looking forward to a good week, man. It's gonna be a solid week. What's the? I'll ask you, Russ. What's the thing you're looking forward to the most for the next 3 days?
My presentation on Wednesday.
Oh, what's that presentation about? What are you doing a presentation about?
Saving costs, like different, data fusion and an approach to save field cost on surveys.
Here, I thought he would say saving lives.
Yeah. Lives could be saved.
There you go. I like what you did.
It's there's greater than zero chance, I would say.
At least there's a chance.
Isn't that a band?
It should be.
What about you? What are you looking forward to these?
It's just meeting new people. Seen a lot of faces, but
I mean, based on the first 20 minutes that we've been here and set up, it's going to be tough to meet new people because every other person walks by. It's like a reunion.
Yeah, just building relations, adding value, making friends. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my presentation isn't your most.
No, it's not even on my.
Fair enough.
Not even on the radar.
Russ's presentation is not on my bingo card.
I'm not so much looking forward to it as I am I always agonize over when I have to give a presentation. I want it to go well
all the time.
Yeah, constantly having anxiety over it.
It's amazing.
Hey, it keeps it exciting.
It does.
Thanks, man. Let's have a great day and a great week.
I mean, maybe we should catch up with Rami and see if he wants to do an interview to kick us off.
Let's catch up with that guy.
Sounds good.
Interview number one.
Kicking us off.
We could not have a better person.
I know. It feels so good to have a familiar face.
Yes, and he has a friend with him.
Yeah.
We're going to let him do self-introductions really quick. Rami, take it away.
All right. So, I'm Rami Tamimi. I run a YouTube channel. I make content about surveying and geospatial technology.
What's the title of that YouTube channel?
Just my name, Rami Tamimi. So, very, very
no ego there.
No, not at all.
That's my name, Just a guy doing surveying work, and we've grown quite a bit in the last several years. But if you ever want to learn about surveying or kind of get some idea of what we do as a profession, it's a great place to start. I'm also the founder of the Survey School, an online education platform designed to create the next generation of surveyors.
His elevator speech is so much better than ours.
I know. He can actually get it done in an elevator instead of us when we just start. Yeah, exactly.
Why are we doing that?
It's taken several years to get to this point. So, yeah.
All right. And you brought a guest.
I did. I brought
Val. Introduce yourself.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm Rami's guest. My name is Valeria Montero, and I'm pretty much the community manager for the survey school. And I met Rami, and we started this survey school a couple months ago. 7 months ago.
A couple months ago, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you first introduced it.
Yeah. No, it was like about a year ago, I had this idea. I wanted to build a place for people to take survey courses, but in a relaxed environment. Same structure as universities. You take the course, there's quizzes, there's an exam, and you pass the course based off of your understanding of the material. But I wanted it to be bigger than that. I wanted it to be like a place for people to get together, a community. And I can only do so much. I'm really good at surveying. I'm not so great at building a community online. So that's where the genius Valeria comes in, and she says, hey, I see what you're trying to do. I really like what you're trying to do. I come from a background of surveying and civil engineering, and I'd love to help. So she joined the team in June, and the rest is history. And we've been
all right. Well, we kind of cut you off a little. Can you give us kind of a little bit of snapshot of your background, kind of how you got to be here?
How'd you meet this guy?
Yeah,
it's actually funny. I met him just on his YouTube channel, but as I was studying mechanical engineering at university, my roommate was a civil engineer. And to make a long story short, she was interning with TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, and they needed someone to fly a drone. And I flew my drone around, not knowing it was actually a surveying thing. Even though my grandfather did more traditional surveying when I was growing up, I didn't realize there was this whole world I was randomly stepping into. That's my first interaction with Rami.
So, Rami, you sold yourself a little bit short there. You said you don't know how to build a community. Your YouTube channel is pretty popular. Come on.
Yeah, what are you up to now? 75,000 subscribers?
Subscribers. It's amazing. Good for you.
Don't worry, Ken. That's only 100 times more than we have.
You know what? Hopefully it doesn't take us 100 times.
As long to get there.
Yeah, exactly. So how is the survey school being received? Do you have students yet? What's happening?
Yeah, so in the last 7 months that we've been active, we have 100 students.
My gosh.
100 active students.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great feedback. People are very happy with, what they're getting. They're meeting surveyors from, all over the country, all over the world, actually. We've got guys
international.
We got guys out of Europe. We got guys from the Middle East. We got someone from South Africa, Mexico. Yeah, all over the place. So people are really happy with, what they're getting, because really the community is the biggest thing here. They're meeting other students from around the world. They're able to connect with each other. They're able to work with each other. And they're not traditional students. These are business owners. These are guys that have been flying drones or doing some scanning work, or they're technicians, doing survey work, with a company. So they're finally connecting with other people and able to share that passion with them and learn with them alongside, in the courses that we offer. So it's been very well received. I think I'm very happy to have.
I'm proud of you, Rami.
Yeah,
I told you that today. Yes. I knew Rami when.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I knew that guy.
Yeah,
So you're the community manager? Talk about what you do. What's the mission of the community
I would love
manager?
to. So something I've seen since I have some experience with building curriculums online is that a lot of them are just very course oriented, not community led. So that's the unique part of the survey school, because rather than building out a curriculum, we build out a curriculum on top of the questions our students have. So it's very relatable. It's very practical.
Yep.
So not only that, the best part is that we help each other. We can't do this alone, and we were never been able to do this alone. So because of our students have been amazing, we've been able to grow an amazing curriculum. We've been able to, fly them out here to conferences, a lot of really cool stuff. So,
and one thing that's super cool about what you guys are doing, you can adjust the curriculum. It's not like turning a battleship, right?
Yeah.
You guys can, change it like a sports car. You can, because technology is advancing at such a rapid pace, and there's all these different applications to the software and hardware and whatever. And you guys can just adapt on the fly.
We're not a bureaucracy.
Exactly.
Not a bureaucracy.
So the money that, we made, it goes right back into the students, We funded 5 students here. 5 students fully paid for to come to Geoweek.
That's awesome.
That all came from, the school itself. So for us, it's all right, if you're performing well and you're putting in your effort, you deserve to be here. You deserve to network with the professionals in the industry.
Yep.
Right? We're going to make it happen. We're going to bring you out here, and we're all going to meet in person, and you're going to meet this amazing crowd of people at Geoweek.
Yeah. So cool.
So, and I have to ask Rami real quick. You mentioned about companies.
Yes.
And maybe just talking for myself, but is there any thought about maybe like a company enterprise account, or instead of having just student by student, you would have I don't know, some company like Alta, and they would say, all right, yeah, let me go ahead and sign up for so many credits, and then we can assign our staff depending on what we want.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with several companies that are struggling to train their staff on surveying.
Yeah, sure.
So, scanning companies or people that are flying drones, or even survey companies like Alta does survey, they have professional surveyors on staff. But your roles are usually, hey, we got to work on projects, and so the mentorship really happens in the field and on their own time, the technician's time. Whereas if they had a community like ours where they could just hop in, take some courses, their employer can track it, and then they can network with other technicians and other professionals and get ideas from other businesses and implement it into their own organization. Now you've got a much more valuable employee.
Yeah, sure.
And they're growing and they're learning. And this is the new way of education. I mean, it's not send them off to a university. No, it's like they're online, and they're able to still work full time for you. They're still able to provide more value and they're growing as a professional. That's what you want for your guys.
Right.
You want them to grow and to learn and to bring new ideas so that your business can grow. So we encourage it. We encourage companies to send over their guys. We'll do the training. We'll help them out. And, we're really looking into doing in-person training because that is very important as well. But at least as a starter, they have a community of other surveyors that today.
Love it.
So cool. Talk about the curriculum just a little bit, like from 30,000 feet. Does it start like a history class and then you just kind of work your way through to flying drones or something? I mean, what's kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, it's a great question. Just recently, Rami revamped the whole journey roadmap that we have for our students. And I know he can elaborate a little bit more on that. But it starts with the community. It starts with networking. It starts with meeting each other online and creating that space that we often don't see with online curriculum. So
yeah, I mean, day one, you join the survey school, you get access to no courses, 0 courses.
Interesting.
So the idea is, I don't want you to think that you're just buying courses. No, you're buying into this community of people that are here to learn. So the first thing you need to do is introduce yourself. My name is Rami Tamimi. I'm based in Detroit, Michigan. And I'm excited to join the community to learn more about integrating survey control in my drone mapping.
And I'm a geoholic.
Of course. Then you have other community members that'll welcome you. They'll kind of give a mini intro. Oh yeah, I also, live in Detroit. We should definitely connect or whatever it is. Then that person will rank up and enter level 2, which is when they can unlock the introduction to surveying. Something that's so foundational and important. So I give you access to that first course. You go through it. You take the quizzes. You can take the final exam. You ask questions in the community. And then you'll unlock, your route survey course, CAD and drafting course. And then you kind of start to figure out what direction you want to go in. You want to go into the geospatial work? Do you want to open your own business and take some business related courses? We then start to refine and make it very specific for you, what you're trying to achieve as a profession. We have lots of, different companies that sponsor the survey school. We have GeoNet, we have IMLID, we have DJI. So they give our students free access, free software, free hardware. So as students rank up, they get access to that equipment to keep for free. And then we tailor, the experience for every student. So
it sounds like there's almost like a mentoring component to this. Yeah, definitely. Right. So your students, talk about the demographic of the students. Is it everything from entry-level surveyors to other surveyors in there that have been doing it for 20 years? And what does it look like?
yeah, it's a great question. As soon as they join the survey school,
2 great questions in a row.
as soon as they join the survey school, they actually have to go through the registrar. And in the registrar, they provide, kind of more information about what they're looking for and how we can help them. And then they receive their student ID. But in terms of demographic, we have a wide variety of different people. We have people who are currently in college. We have people who are similar professionals in the field, just trying to get an understanding of the world, but not wanting to commit to a university. We have, who else do we have, Rami?
we have an accountant.
We have an accountant, Joel. He's our best student. We have pretty much people who have their own business and are wanting to expand the skill sets in their team or for themselves to expand the services that they offer or the pricing of it. We also have
VFX guys.
Oh, dude, we have a lot of VFX guys, a lot of really cool people who are a part of different worlds, but use surveying in that world.
So what is the end game like? Do you get
that was my question.
Certificate of completion or something? Or what does that look like?
Yeah, so right now, that is where we're at. We're able to give you a certificate of achievement when you pass a course. You're able to unlock resources that you can use for your personal or business development. But the goal for us is accreditation. I really see the surveying industry struggling to create professionals. It took me a while to get my PS because of the journey that I've been on as a surveyor. And so I always told people, I was like, there needs to be a more streamlined way, a way that's flexible for people, where it's not easier by any means. It's still rigorous and tough, and you need to, prove yourself. But there's got to be a new way to be able to pass the information. And so for me, if I can get accreditation for our school, actually have courses that count towards licensure, someone could come in, maybe they have had a bachelor's degree, like Joel has a bachelor's degree in accounting. And so he can take his 30 credits that NCEES requires. If we have ABET, recognize that our program is a surveying program, then they can sit in on their licensing exams and become professionals. And now they've become a mentor to the next generation of students that join this university.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then what about possibly job placement or like the career advice that you guys can offer? I mean, I know a lot of these kids or students, I should say, are already working. Mm-hmm. But what about those that are looking for a career or want another opportunity? Because I'm guessing that's why they're doing it to begin with, right?
Yeah. So we've got a student named Andrew who knew nothing about surveying, joined the school, took the intro and route survey course, and landed his first survey tech position. And he was so excited. And he's like, I literally learned everything here. And I was able to go into an interview and say, this is what I know. Here's where I would like to be. And they hired
immediately.
So that's just one example of it working. I've talked to people from like GeoSearch, right? Chelsea and Jessica. And I was like, hey guys,
sure.
We have this program. They're like, it would be amazing to get contacts from your students and say, hey, now that you've reached this, certain threshold, now you're ready to go interview for this type of job or that kind of job. And they've got connections to all sorts of companies, different people. So, we're excited to continue networking with other businesses and other companies and provide a link between recruiters and students because that's a missing link that.
Yep. So what's the next step? The accreditation?
Accreditation is always on the to-do list. Improving courses, improving more live events, setting up labs. We want to do also research projects. So just like in a real university, you have a capstone project you need to work on. We're going to be introducing that and giving students the opportunity to do research. And through the experience that I've had with my PhD of, how do you do research? How do you publish your research? How do you go to a conference and present on it? I want to set up that process for them. I want to show them what that's like. So then maybe they come to Geoweek and they enter an ASPRS session and they actually present on the research that they've done inside the service. Why not?
So when is the survey school going to have a booth at Geoweek?
That's a really good question.
He's got great exposure.
He's got a lot of things to do, Ken.
So I think there's room for that. We can figure that out, right, Phil?
Definitely. But our number one priority is always student success and having the right metrics to follow and just increasing the number that is, right?
Yeah. Well said.
I don't know where you found this one over here, but she's a rock star.
Yeah, I know.
She's great.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. You're in good hands. What else? You guys got anything else you want to get out there before we let you go?
What else we got out there?
How can they find more information?
Yep. TheSurveySchool.com.
TheSurveySchool.com.
SurveySchool.com.
So that domain was not taken.
No, it wasn't.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's good for you.
Fun fact, Rami has like 20 domains.
I collect them. Yes. I collect them.
That's amazing. We're really proud of you, Rami.
Thank you.
Yes, that's amazing. Amazing stuff.
Great to meet you, pal.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Your support is tremendous. So thank you guys for everything that you've done today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Rolling, buddy.
We are firing at all cylinders.
Yes, we are.
Today.
Yeah. It gets easier every time we do these conferences.
I know.
Get in the groove, get rolling. And
it's like riding that bike.
And we've even got one of our new geo experts with us joining this one. Russ is here. Russ Hall. Russ Hall.
All right. Russ made it. All right.
I recovered from the overseeing.
Oh, man. It was a good one. Those guys know how to have a good time. No doubt about it. All right.
I'm losing my voice because of the.
I think I am too, as a matter of fact. There's all this talking. I don't know. So real quick self-introduction. Just give us your name, who you're with, and kind of what you do.
Jerry Rennick. I'm based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I co-own and operate Reality Capture Experts. we're a business, but we're also a nonprofit organization that helps to facilitate networking, mentorship, education for other reality capture professionals across the country.
So we love that. That is amazing.
Yes, but you sound like you're doing exactly what RCN is doing. Are you guys competitors? Are you partners? What?
No, they're for profit.
Yes.
Oh, you're not for
We're
profit.
not for
Oh,
profit.
I like that. I
And
like that.
it really is a lower end sort of like Matterport based and other 360 tools that we use. But a lot of our members aspire to be geoholics. Exactly. And so we come to conferences like this to learn more because we want to go to that next level of business and service that we're providing. Because oftentimes with Matterport, we're servicing customers that also need LiDAR, they need data capture, they need private models. And so people need to know, how do I take this business to that level? And
So asking for a friend, what is Matterport?
So Matterport is 3D scanning hardware and software.
Okay.
And so there's a Pro Series levels of devices. One of them, their newest release, the Pro 3, has LiDAR capabilities, but it still doesn't have that level of accuracy that you need to have an accurate point cloud. So it's primarily for the visualization of a project, interior and exterior. We can also generate a point cloud if it's a use case where accuracy doesn't need to be that millimeter level of accuracy.
Okay.
And I guarantee you've seen Matterport data. I guarantee you've seen it before in those apartment websites or anything like that, condos, real estate, those fancy fly-throughs. That's all usually Matterport, right?
It's all
Yeah,
out.
it's all Matterport.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
I wasn't asking for me. I know what it was. My friend.
I'm sorry, I was talking through you to Sean.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. It's okay.
It's not just real estate. A lot of people only know Matterport when real estate projects are looking at apartments or dorms. And we're focused, a lot on construction documentation, the rough-in stage, before things are sealed up.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of people that are looking at higher-end LiDAR scanning and even ground penetration and underwater data capture, infrastructure.
Well, you come to the right source because that's a lot of the people that we talk to.
So I got to back up just a second. How did you get into this?
I have a great story.
I'd love to hear.
We love stories.
It's a very Midwest story, being from, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I have 4 boys. I was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. My second son came across Matterport. He didn't want to go to college, so decided he was going to build this amazing business with Matterport 3D. And he got a device and started working the business. And it was new technology back in 2015. Nobody had it in our neck of the woods. And so he had some great traction, but then he was only 18 and he didn't have a lot of the skills that it takes to actually build a business. So he got a really good offer from a client that actually wanted him to go and work for him. And so I had been doing some business development for him, meeting people, going out to lunch. And I didn't want to stop doing that. I felt like, this is my next chapter. So I bought the business from him in 2016. And just started hitting the pavement and selling and growing the business. Any industry, any space, anywhere can use what we have. And so now, and then in 2017, I have a partner who's wandering around here. We formed Reality Capture Experts because we had customers that needed us to be in other areas of the country, and it wasn't cost effective for us to fly around the country. So we formed Reality Capture Experts. And then he became a business to service customers. But then also we were amassing all of these other Matterport providers, and we were building relationships with them, and we needed to educate, train, mentor them so that they could stay in business to service our customers. And so now it's, we've got about 140 members that are like what we call team members. And then we have a huge database of other providers across the world that we use to help us out too. So,
That is awesome. So what made you go the not-for-profit route?
because we wanted to make what we do affordable. We wanted our members to pay a small amount of money that would just help with the infrastructure of it. That's not to say that we might be hosting a conference somewhere and we might try to make money off of that. We talk about that sometimes, but we're not federally recognized as a nonprofit because Dustin and I still want to control everything. We don't want to have a board and answer to a lot of entities that would make it so that we aren't controlling it, because it is what we want it to be. And our members are there because they want to be there. So yeah, but that's definitely an option to explore possibilities in the future.
And your reality capture business, you are a WBE?
So I am a WBE, but I also own Perspective 3D is my company local to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I stepped into that. And that is a certified own business.
That's what, yes. Anytime you sit down for one of these interviews, you should just drop that right off the
I am
that is so valuable.
I'm looking to get some government contracts too at some point. So I'm kind of go through that process of Afghanistan and stuff. But there's not anything within the SAM system or other NAICS system codes that describe exactly what we do. So a lot of times it's described as geospatial. And so I don't know, it's hard to attract business just being sitting there as an entity because it's not going to come up when people do research for what I do.
I got one. What do you think one of the main pain points or issues or problems that your members have that you hear about? Like what are they telling you?
Most of them are entrepreneurs. They started a business because they don't want to work for somebody else. So they're wearing all of the hats. So they're sales, they're marketing, they're on-site scanning. Most of them want to scale their business. They want to hire people to do the scanning and they can just facilitate, project management or work on sales, right? It's hard to
do both
on sales. Yeah. When you're on-site scanning, you can't answer emails effectively. You can't meet with customers on site. And I will say that's something I've been recently successful at because another son that I have, he spent some time in the Navy. He's going to school now, but he wants to then take over Perspective 3D, which is my business local. And I have a dedicated
practice run.
I have a dedicated sales team, and it's effective because he can just spend his whole time selling and bringing in new business. And I think that's what other reality capture professionals need to do. They need dedicated sales and marketing people.
Well, I don't think you're alone in the geospatial or the 3D scanning world of small businesses needing to know how to scale.
So great website, by the way, very user-friendly, realitycaptureexperts.com.
Yep.
Correct? Yep. Great website. I see on there, it says site surveys. And I heard you talking before you sat down about the importance of using a surveyor to really dial in these point clouds. Talk about that just a little bit.
Well, actually, that's a great question. Site surveys that we perform are primarily a comprehensive data collection experience for the customer. So we're on-site scanning with Matterport for visualization, LiDAR for the point cloud. We're doing photo sweeps. We're taking measurements. We're taking photos and drone imagery of equipment tags of all the, say, HVAC stuff, the fire suppression equipment. So we're not surveyors, but when it's needed, then we'll hire a surveyor to come in and to provide that. Control.
Good answer.
So you're doing more of snap or what you just described is more like an inspection, like a snapshot. Like they said they built this pole over here. Did this pole actually go up? Or right. I gotcha.
And I love how you describe that. It's like a survey as in a collection of data.
Yes, not as in property.
Not in defining a point.
Yes, yes.
And because the word can mean more than one thing.
Yes,
I'm learning.
Yeah. And I think too, so a lot of reality capture experts customers that need site surveys, they have, so they're commercial business, property owners, right? They have tons of property and they need to see what their assets are worth and what maintenance they need to have. And they need to be able to make decisions for people that will be leasing the spaces. And so
you're mostly dealing with the stakeholder level as primarily as a client.
Yep.
Do you have any do you also get surveyors as clients? Like if I was a small shop and need something scanned, I feel like, and you're a WBE, like you're the perfect fit for that.
You know, somebody just asked that question over lunch and I feel, but I could be wrong, that a lot of surveyors that need that might have an in-house Matterport or a little point and click that integrates with the Matterport software.
I think you'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised, especially smaller ones. Like you got to, I
think there's some market.
I would say maybe get them into your network.
Yeah,
a lot of smaller,
definitely.
especially something like an RTC level, scanner, like the intro one. I mean, that's still 6 figures. Like if you're a 2-person survey firm, that's a big expense for something you might not use that often.
Okay.
And that's where I would call you guys up,
Okay. All right. Good to know. I'm going to go find some surveyors.
Yeah.
You don't have to look. You don't have to look far in this room. Just throw a rock and you'll hit one.
He's not just a pretty face. This guy.
Oh, stop.
He actually knows what he's talking about. Anything else you want to get out there before we let you go?
No, don't think so. But always looking for people that want to provide education, mentorship. Even it's the language, right? So you speak a different language, but it's a language that kind of supports what we do. And so I'm definitely going to share the podcast and maybe I can get you some more viewers to.
That'd be amazing. We would love that.
Yes. And,
not viewers, but listeners, I suppose.
We have a YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
I think based on what you're describing, your members would get some value out of a lot of the topics and guests that we have on the show.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate you stopping by. It was a lot of
Great
fun.
conversation.
Yeah, so it was great to meet you.
All right, here we go.
Man, we are rolling right along. Love
Another
it. I
familiar
love
face. Another familiar face. Real quick, Dawn, if you would, just a quick self-introduction, who you are, what you do, and anything else you want to tell us about you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Dawn Zoldi here. I am the CEO and founder of P3 Tech Consulting. That is a consulting, content creation, and education focused company. The coolest thing I've done in the last 60 days is open up Autonomy Global.
Oh, we didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's a publisher. So it's a digital media hub for all things autonomy and in 15 languages.
My gosh, someone just asked us today if we were in Spanish. She's already 50
I know, right?
ahead of us.
You got Spanish.
Quite forward thinking there.
Oh my gosh. Autonomy Global. This is a great topic of conversation because there's so much happening in that arena. Man, like we live in Phoenix, and Phoenix has Waymo, right?
Yes.
And Sean loves it.
I'm
it all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, my buddy was just in town this past weekend for the Open. He had never seen anything like it before. So he every time we pull up to one or walk by one, he's like, holy crap, I can't imagine. He's taking pictures of video. He can't believe it. Talk about some of the cool stuff like that's happening.
Well, you're talking about Waymo. And so EVs, that's one of the target technologies, if you will, that I'm looking at, as well as drones, air taxis, space, maritime type vessels and vehicles.
And when you say drones, you mean like autonomous drones?
So here's the thing. We're not quite there yet, right? Yeah. So it's Autonomy Global, but there's a lot of work that has to be done to get there. Yeah. And there's a lot of enabling technologies that will get us there. And so, I'm here at Geoweek because when you think about mapping the future, these Waymo vehicles, they cannot drive autonomously on roads without a good map of that road, right? So all of these things are interconnected. And that's why I opened the site, because so many times we see folks siloed. You have your geospatial crowd. They kind of hang out with each other. It's you guys, the geoholics,
yeah, sure.
Right? And then you got your drone crowd. They've broken into here. You're going to see drones on this floor, but your EV crowd and the drone crowd never shall the twain meet, but yet they should, right? Because when you think about the future, it's multi-domain, it's multimodal, and it's all connected with these enabling technologies from artificial intelligence to, geomatics, all of it. And so people are like, yeah, maybe it's you went too broad. And I'm thinking, no, you're thinking too small.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that some of that emerging technology that's going to pull that off is in this room right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and not only that, but you get the software companies that help visualize, not only the analytics and the data that you pull from the images you can create or these maps, but also how you see it, that human user the user interface. All of these things I think are going to be players.
I think the biggest challenge is like bringing everybody together.
Absolutely.
Right? Because there's a lot of cool things happening in this room.
Yep.
But there's a lot of silos, right?
Totally.
So bringing it all together. Is that part of what you're trying to do?
Absolutely. You know, just last week as an example, and you're thinking, wow, what does that have to do with anything? I went to a counter UAS event.
Okay.
When you think about counter UAS, really think airspace awareness and assessment, right? And then you think about what makes the skies safe, and skies safe for what? For drones. The folks that are here maybe doing mapping missions. Now, do you see the connection between counter UAS and some of the groups that are here today?
Yeah.
You know, there is, but yet they're not talking to each other. There's not one single counter UAS company here.
Yeah.
But yet they're highly relevant to getting these missions done.
Yeah. Then there's like really cool stuff going on. Like, are you familiar with GeoNet? Have you seen GeoNet and what they're doing over there?
I just started walking the floor, and every booth I stop, it's like 20 minutes later. Swag from my bag. Yeah.
Well, make sure you connect with them.
I will.
They're building like the largest global RTK network, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And that's gonna like be the foundation of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned like the space component of it.
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit, because there's so much happening.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
100%. So, I'll be headed to the Space Symposium at the Broadmoor.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say I'm getting headed to space. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so. Don't rule it out. Not anytime soon.
You never know. Stranger things have happened.
Right.
I went to the Space Power conference in Orlando in December, and that was the military types. I'll be going to the Air Force and Space Force Association's Warfare Symposium in March, and then the Space Symposium. It's like, why are you going to all these space things? Well, because guess what? We rely on space for everything. Can you say position, navigation, time, and PNT, right? Mm-hmm. And then what are those alternatives? What are the backups when, they're spoofing, jamming, the God forbid the EMP goes off that Russia wants to put up there.
We just talked to somebody that was like, hey, do you guys ever talk about spoofing and jamming? And we're like, no, let's come back and talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. And I mean, we're seeing it every single day in the battlefields, in Ukraine. And to have those resilient technologies that can, or, you're going back to your Waymo car. You spoof, you jam, you confuse that thing, and it goes off the road, into a river. That's going to be a big problem, but it's not really a far-fetched scenario to think about. And what are those systems inside that vehicle? Because they are just driving computers at this point, that are protecting it. That's why cybersecurity is also another area of interest for me. Yeah.
So maybe you said it and I missed it. What is like the mission of Autonomy Global?
Well, I didn't say it, but that's a great point. I should have said it.
Yeah. I know. You're really
right.
on a roll.
You are so on point, my friend. Yeah. This is why you wear the headphones.
It's a secret art of listening. Startup listening.
Right.
So the mission is to really be that global hub, and build this community to connect those dots. So the space people will see a space article and go on there and be, wait a minute, there's this really cool solar powered car that Dawn wrote about from CES. Let's read about that. And then all of a sudden, like the dots start getting connected. Like, that's a solar powered car. Maybe there's something there for us. I don't know. But that's the idea. The mission is really to be that kind of global connector of all these different emerging technologies and start having those conversations that are, not to keep saying it, but basically connecting those dots.
So, Dawn, I got to tell you this. You're one of those people that I swear you live in a world where your day is a lot longer than everyone else's, because it seems like you just do so many things and you're everywhere. Like, and talk about a little bit. You've added this, and so that's a lot more content you need to create
for sure.
How do you do all that, and how do you prioritize which one you focus on?
Yeah, that's exhausting. I actually, before I launched the site on January 1st, created a planner for the entire year. So I already have articles planned out for every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the entire year. Now, some of it is, my weekly Dawn of Autonomy podcast. What we're doing now with those, because those are sponsored, we'll take that podcast transcript and I will write an article based on that transcript will go on Autonomy Global. So that's one way. Another way is, like you said, I'm going to all of these events. It's so much more fun to have a mission, if you will, the purpose, to sit through a panel. It's like, that's a panel I want to cover.
Right.
This is stuff other people maybe that didn't make it here need to hear about. So that's kind of how I prioritize that in terms of pushing out the content.
You mentioned the solar powered car.
Yeah.
So is alternative energy playing a role in what you're talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the energy sector is a big user of emerging technologies. And, so I'll be going to Energy Drone and Robotics Coalition Summit in Houston every June. I'm going there again. The wind farm people, they're out there, the offshore energy people. And how are they, complying with legal requirements? Well, they're using underwater robots, crawlers, ROVs, they're using drones. There's going to be, ship to shore, shore to ship, whatever, or, offshore platform cargo deliveries with drones or, advanced air mobility, eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff landing aircraft. So in that regard, yes, the kind of renewable energy people are people that I care about because they're using these technologies and they're early adopters.
What about the manned drone type thing? I've seen a lot of talk about that happening. How far away are we from that?
Okay. The manned drone, I'm thinking, you're referring to air taxis? I'm doing air quotes that none of your listeners can see right now.
Yeah.
So these are the electric vertical takeoff and landing, or eVTOLs. Very interesting question, right? Because the FAA put out this thing called I-28, Innovate 28, with the idea that by 2028, there'd be some initial flights during the LA Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Get this. I chaired this eVTOL Technology USA conference back in November in DC, and there was a panel of these OEMs, right? The original equipment manufacturers like Beta Technologies, Joby, Lilium, who, by the way, kind of is in the equivalent of like Chapter 11, but in Germany, not doing real well. Archer is doing well. I asked them that question, and guess what they all said?
Not going to happen.
Park City, Utah.
Oh.
They said 2034.
Oh.
So, to hear the people making the aircraft say like, yeah, it'll really be more like 2034.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of on the front line there.
Pretty eye-opening.
Interesting. What's the website?
Which website?
The Autonomy.
Thank you. Autonomyglobal.co.
.co.
As in,
gotcha.
Like company or Colorado, but not .com.
Gotcha.
Don't confuse.
.co.
.co. What else, Sean? You got anything else?
No. I mean, we can talk for a long time. Yeah, we still haven't even cracked the surface.
Should we need to be talking more to Dawn?
Yeah. Every time we see her, we say that. You do realize that, right? But she's got.
Come back on. I really appreciate you guys and what you do. Now it's really.
But now that I learned the year's already calendared out and spoken for, we got to get on the 2026 calendar before she creates that.
Awesome.
You got it. Anything else, Megan?
No, thanks. And keep listening to these guys, obviously. Hope you'll follow me. My umbrella company is P3 Tech Consulting. You can check that out too. And I'm on LinkedIn, Dawn Zoldi, P3 Tech Consulting, as well as Autonomy Global. So check out all my handles.
That's great. As always.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Man,
Firing at all cylinders. I've said that like 3 times.
Yeah. We got to get a new real quick. We do a quick self-introduction. Just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
For sure. I'm Josh Sanders. I'm in the surveying engineering program at Ferris State University in Michigan. I'm a senior and I'll be working for McAdams come May down in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh my goodness! Can we get a round of applause for Raleigh, North Carolina? Well, not only that, I mean, you got survey student graduating, already got a job, and he's going to Raleigh. That is outstanding.
Who did you say you're going to work for?
McAdams.
McAdams. Okay. We got about 10, 15 minutes here with you. Maybe we can sway you to go to maybe David Evans or Alta Southwest. What's your company now?
Alta Environmental and Infrastructure. Yeah.
Just don't sell yourself short. Buddy.
All right.
Yeah. And remember, no, everyone's saying that first stop is only 2 years for your next job. Use that first job to get your next job.
Don't tell my boss that.
Yeah. Well, I'm fighting that on the other end too, because I'm the guy that is losing the 2 years.
All
right. Well, let's start over again. So what got you into going in the survey group?
My dad's a civil engineer.
Okay.
He kind of gave me a scared straight talk saying, you don't want to do that. The surveyors look like they have a lot more fun. And
nice. I love that.
He's not wrong.
He is not wrong.
Through summer internships and my time at Ferris, I've really realized that it's my passion.
Yeah. So are you from Michigan then? Or are you from North Carolina?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
You betcha.
You betcha. Any curling up there?
I've never been involved with it. Cross country skiing was my
Okay.
Fair enough.
So are you into basketball?
I love watching it. I'm terrible at playing.
Then you're gonna fit right in Raleigh.
It's awesome. So have you been to Geoweek before?
First time.
And what do you think so far?
I mean, I've been to state conferences and I've been to NSPS, and this is just those on steroids.
Absolutely.
I've been to a lot of interesting presentations, and just walking around and meeting people at booths has been awesome.
Yeah. So Fair State, probably one of the top 5 geomatics programs in the country. Still going strong up there?
It is. Yeah. We've had big incoming classes the last 2 years.
Nice.
We just hired another full-time faculty member.
Nice.
So it seems like it's on the up and up. We really dig deep into topics like geodesy and remote sensing and photogrammetry. So I feel like I'm getting a very well-rounded education.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of people that listen to us regularly that have a smile on their face when they hear that it's on the up. How many was in your graduating class?
It's a small class, so we have 6 this spring, but we've had 16 people in the incoming freshman classes the last couple of years. So I think they're growing.
Yeah. And all 6 of you that are graduating, I'm assuming, have jobs?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
That can't be said enough. Like every single graduate already has a job. Like what better, career path to get into?
Yeah. So is there something about geomatics that you kind of gravitate to? Is it more like the boundary resolution, or is it more the remote sensing? What are you kind of passionate about?
I do love boundary, but at the same time, through my summer internships, I've had a lot of experience doing laser scanning. So nice. I feel like I really appreciate both realms, and I can see how they interact and are important to each other. So I'm really trying to not zero myself in on something too fine. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from the older guys, and just get hands-on as often as possible.
And what has the company you're going to work for? What do you have an idea of what you're going to be kind of starting to do?
Yeah. So I'm going to be a junior chief, and my main priority right now is working towards getting licensed down there.
Okay.
So I'll be making sure I hit all the markers for that. I'm hoping to do a lot of energy infrastructure, that kind of thing.
Yes. Nice.
I had some past experience. I love the massive altas and everything that goes along with those. So,
yeah. So you're going to start out working on the field side.
Correct.
Awesome.
I intend on at least a few years in the field before moving into the office.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy's got success written all over him.
I know. It's like he's got a script of like
his whole life
how to make a survey manager fall in love with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to learn.
Where are these guys and gals in Arizona?
Well, apparently there's 5 more at Ferris State, and that's it.
Yeah, leave us their names. So what else are you excited about being here?
I'd say just seeing more of these equipment manufacturers, and I love Trimble, and Leica's good too. Those are really the only 2 I've ever used. So seeing some of these other big names and small names has been really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What about some like the really cool UAV stuff that's happening?
Yeah. I honestly have almost no experience flying. So that's something that, I'm just hoping to meet people and get chances to talk more about it, because obviously that's essential in these fields.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talk a lot about, traditional surveying and all the new technology with scanning and drones and everything, LiDAR. How was your experience in school, kind of getting, or how did they merge those two topics?
Yeah, for sure. So, freshman year, I took photogrammetry 1, which, Professor Birch, some of the listeners might recognize his name. He's been at Ferris forever, and he's just a genius in the photogrammetry field. So we started out with, film and analog stereo plotters and the basics. And then our advanced photogrammetry class gets more into flying and the LiDAR side of things. And then for my capstone, we did a big point cloud, and I've been getting into like the animating side of things for fly throughs, and just really trying to maximize the potential of these point clouds.
Yeah. So the capstone, is that like a senior project type thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Talk about it a little bit. Was that like a group project or an individual project?
We get to choose. So I have one other partner, and we scanned the M20 Maple Street Bridge right near the Ferris campus. So we did a bunch of terrestrial scanning, SX12 setups on all the control points, and then the X9 to fill in all the gaps. And then we also flew it. And then we're tying all that together and really trying to see all the different extraction tools we can use to get information out of it, because I keep saying we're not here to make pretty pictures. We want to use as much data out of it as we can.
So what is your plan? What do you think you're going to get out of it? What's the showcase data points, or what are you going to get out of it that you're going to be most proud to share?
I think some of the automated extraction that we've been able to do with it is something that I haven't seen too many other student projects hit. TBC is the main processing software we've used for a lot of it. But I'm presenting for the first time on it on Thursday at the Michigan State Conference. I fly back to that for Wednesday. So, it's not a completed project, but we're on the home stretch.
Yeah. Oh my word.
Lots of great stuff. I'm just trying to expand on what advice would you give any other, like, I'm trying to picture someone in your shoes, and what advice would you get them to steer them in this geospatial career?
Absolutely. Well, I came into my freshman year at Ferris with no past survey experience, and it was just a great place for being from that point. And they really taught me everything I had to know. And then the summer internships have just been so huge for getting hands-on experience. And even coming out of freshman year, everybody in the program has internships that pay for all, if not a good portion of school. And so that's just been great, being able to make it through school without debt and get great experience. I'm not just carrying the hammer and lathe. I've gotten a lot of hands-on time behind the controller. So
is that a requirement in your curriculum?
No requirement. So, but everybody does
Everyone does it.
Correct.
Because it pays.
Exactly.
So have you done like some internships then? Like in the summertime, you've got some hands-on experience. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep. I've worked in 10 different states, doing a lot of Alta surveys, working 90 hours a week sometimes, and trying to get myself working for a few different companies so that coming out of school, I really know what I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, this guy's got it figured out, man.
I'm just curious, how would a company... Anyway, I'll ask you offline.
Yeah, good stuff. What else? Anything else? This has been a great conversation.
Yeah. What else you want to get out there?
It's so exciting to meet somebody who's so passionate about the profession. I got to tell you, it's great.
I guess a little shameless plug for the Ferris program. There's
go ahead.
No out-of-state tuition. So as a Minnesota resident, I believe even for Canadians, you pay the same amount as Michigan residents do. We get the newest equipment every year. Siler Geospatial takes good care of us. So we've got all R980s, SX12, the best of the best. So we're really outfitted to make sure students can make the most of their time.
Yep. Do they have an online program at all or no?
Well, you can take most of the program online. I don't think you can do it fully, but I'm graduating with someone who's gone the online route, and it's definitely a good option.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate you taking the opportunity to come by and talk to us.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the show, and good luck on Thursday.
I appreciate it. It was great to meet you guys too.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks. All right. I feel like it's lunchtime, but we got started late.
No, it's because
So
we
it's almost
started late.
dinner.
Yeah, it's almost dinner. It's
Weird.
well,
My
what
body's all
really
messed up.
No, you know why it is?
What? Tell me.
Because it's happy hour time, and your body is telling you it's time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It is. It is. It's about that time.
It's about that time.
All right. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Really are.
We have a familiar face with us.
Very familiar,
Real
actually.
Larry, if you would, brief introduction, who you are, who you're with, what you do.
Larry Fox, VP of Marketing and Business Development with Bad Elf, engineer by night, marketing by day.
And guest on episode 245.
245 hasn't even hit in the press yet.
Yes. And we have is it Maithreyi?
Maithreyi, you got it.
Maithreyi. Quick introduction, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So Maithreyi Gopalakrishnan, the full name, and I am the founder and CEO of a very early stage company called PrecisionTerra. We are commercializing technology out of the University of Colorado at Boulder that's improving GPS signal tracking in what we call signal degraded environments. You can think canyons, cities, forests, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Well, dig into that just a little bit because it sounds fairly cutting edge, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what we hope.
That's what we hope, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to be part of an entrepreneur in residence program at the University of Colorado Boulder, and had a chance to talk with a number of outstanding professors doing really cutting edge work at the University of Colorado. And one of them is an absolute rock star in the GPS field. Her name is Jade Morton, and she develops all kinds of GPS signal processing algorithms, modeling of the ionosphere. That's the kind of work that she does. And she had this really interesting algorithm that was designed for dual and multi-frequency GPS receivers, which I think are coming more and more into the commercial sphere in a lot of different areas, to improve the resilience of signals in those kinds of signal degraded places. So she had essentially designed the algorithm and wasn't sure kind of what the path forward was to actually commercialize it, to get it out to market, to have actual users of GPS technology be able to avail of that. So I came in as the entrepreneur in residence and started this company, PrecisionTerra, and we're figuring out how to develop and deliver a fully software-based kind of signal processing solution with that tracking technology kind of at the heart.
Who is that going to benefit?
Yeah, it's going to benefit. So GPS receiver manufacturers can definitely benefit if they just implement kind of the tracking specifically. But looking at the whole software-based signal processor, anyone that's trying to deploy GPS solutions that are low cost, low form factor, have a lot of flexibility to implement new software for GPS along the way without having to reconfigure any hardware, I think they would find this really appealing. So you can think U.S. military, I think, are one of the first kind of areas that we're looking into, as well as GPS receiver chip manufacturers and high mid-precision GPS receiver companies.
Yeah, just the U.S. military. No big deal. No big deal. Larry, jump in here.
Yeah. So one of the things to think about is we've been in this space for quite some time, and there's always been, how do I get rid of the trees from the canopy situation I'm in? Mm-hmm. Or I'm in an urban canyon or a real canyon, and all the multipath issues that come along with this. So when this was all presented to me, I was like, wow, that's really cool. You got to get super low level into the chip. But if you could build that and it actually is producing some good results, this opens up the door to being able to use GPS in places where you'd say, my GPS is going to suck there. Forget it. I got to go do something else, go set up a total station. That's why I was so intrigued with it. I was like, I just need to watch this. I need to arm this woman with as many people as I could put her in touch with, because the IP that she's got here could really benefit. And maybe we might actually have the magic canopy erasing GPS receiving.
That would be amazing.
It sure would be.
That would be amazing. So how did you get passionate about this?
Yeah. Great question, because my background is actually in optics and laser. So like not related to GPS whatsoever. I guess some people use optics and lasers.
Well, you can find some stuff to do in this room with that too.
Sure, for sure. But it was really, my husband, he used to work in a large mapping company called Here Technologies. You're probably familiar with Here. They make high definition maps for a lot of different applications. And he was specifically looking at road, like lane level navigation and that sort of thing. And he was going through the list of available technologies coming out of C Boulder with me. He was like, this technology, if we can get better data to actually ingest into our maps, we can build better maps. So like Here wouldn't necessarily be a customer kind of purchasing this technology, but they would be a downstream kind of beneficiary. And imagine how powerful that kind of cycle could be of having better data to improve maps and then having better maps to navigate more effectively, whether it's vehicles or anything else. So that's kind of what got me intrigued here in this technology, that there was just that immediate, like really practical use that was going to have widespread impact if it was successful.
Yep. So Larry, not to put you on the spot here, but so is Bad Elf, are they incorporating this somehow into your hardware? Is that a possibility?
So not currently, but it's something I'm open to. I mean, there's a few technology hurdles that still have to be addressed to really prove it out in the field. So I think step one is try and get it implemented in something. So we could really take it out, because it's kind of like what we do. I mean, when I want to go test nasty, I go call up my buddies at Kaibab and go, let's go take GPS out in some real trees and get away from Phoenix, where we have things that are bushes that behave like trees.
Right.
and actually go see what happens when we get up next to mountains and we get into trees. And so I think where we'll participate is when we start doing the qualitative and quantitative testing of whatever is developed from the technology point of view. And if it has legs, I'm going to be the waving the flag going, you need this, license this technology.
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So talk about your, like the demographic of your customers that, that are targeted for something like this.
Sure. So we've, as I mentioned, kind of started out with the DoD, the military, just because there is almost a mandate within the DoD now to try and find better solutions for alternative positioning, navigation, and timing, or resilient positioning, navigation, and timing. They're pouring a lot of money, investing a lot of resources in that space. So I think we're trying to capitalize on the opportunities there. So that'll be the focus, probably unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned sea vehicles from the Navy, and just basic kind of navigation in dynamic battlefield environments where there's just a lot going on and a lot changing constantly. Also looking at GPS receiver chip companies. So the chips that go in your mobile device, manufactured by companies like Qualcomm and Broadcom. These are companies that really want to look at software solutions or solutions that don't add to the form factor, because they only have limited space and limited power that they can have their phones use. And so this could be a good kind of addition there. And then mid-high precision GPS receiver companies that are making maybe receivers that are at a more affordable price point, looking for some additional software options and solutions in their technology. I think those would be kind of the customer profiles. But certainly we're starting with the DoD as well as those chip manufacturers. It's just those are large entities. So navigating those has been a challenge, but
sure.
We're figuring it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed, like what you just said, as far as
his eyes are like glazed. He's like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Right now.
Well, it's just that is a big bite to
For sure.
Does that? Do you have a plan, or like how are you going to take that big of a bite in the beginning?
Sure. Yeah. So with the DoD, the best path to work with them is SBIR grants, Small Business Innovation Research grants. So you get a grant that ranges between $75,000 and $250,000, which is probably a drop in the bucket for the DoD, but very impactful for a small company like mine.
Sure.
And then you start just what's called a phase 1 project with them, kind of prove out the concept and design kind of the plan to be implemented. Then you move on to a phase 2. Where it's a longer, more drawn out process, 18 months, where you're really qualifying the technology more deeply. And then finally, you actually look at contract opportunities with them. And I personally, because our solution is software, we would be deploying in partnership with a hardware receiver provider. So you can think Raytheon, like we have a letter of support from Raytheon. They're interested kind of once the technology reaches that level of maturity to see whether it makes sense to implement in their receivers. So that's kind of the process to work with the DoD. Yeah.
It's interesting.
I'm just curious, Larry, our good friends or our friends at GeoNet, do they have any stake in this at all? Like, does it benefit them at all?
It could possibly for some of the more challenging environments there, because every GPS receiver is going to benefit. So anyone who's running the CORS network, I mean, generally you want those things in really, really clean visibility. I guess I would ask you the question, though. There's a lot of jamming and spoofing going around. Do you see this technology be able to be helpful for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think this technology directly wouldn't address spoofing. It could address jamming, because ultimately it's helping receivers when the signal to noise is relatively poor. And if the signal to noise is impacted by jamming, and if it's not completely impacted, but it's impacted to a large degree and the signal is degraded significantly, this can be helpful. It's a generalized solution for anything where signal to noise is kind of low. But we are looking at working with a transition partner into the Department of Defense called NAL Research. They're like a mid-sized GPS receiver, or sorry, not GPS receiver manufacturer. They make receivers that work with low Earth orbit satellites and have a lot of spoofing and jamming capabilities already implemented. So we're thinking if we can deploy this on their devices, we cover spoofing, jamming, and kind of various forms of signal degradation, and improve accuracy kind of in one fell swoop with that partnership. So that's what we're looking at right now. So not directly, but kind of indirectly via partnerships. So,
all right, I got one more question.
Yeah.
You're like the third person that has sat in that chair today that mentioned
Just
jamming
today.
and spoofing.
Yeah.
And I shake my head every time like I know what they're talking about, but I don't know that I do. What is jamming and spoofing?
Sure. So jamming is so the signals that come from GPS satellites are already super weak. They are on the order of 45 dB hertz, which I don't know, I guess it's all relative, but it's a relatively weak signal. It travels from like 12,000 plus miles away in space. So when you're interfering with an already really weak signal, it becomes too weak for you to even have kind of like a line of sight to it. Like you can't see it anymore. You can't detect it anymore because it's so weak. So jamming is you're basically throwing that interference into the signal to make it so weak that it's just a non-viable signal. And then spoofing, you essentially alter or mess with the signals to make the user of the device think that they're somewhere different from where they actually are. So those have both been happening quite a lot in both the conflict in the Middle East, Israel and Palestine, as well as in the war between Russia and Ukraine. So, yeah.
That could end up bad. If those things happen in a military setting, oh my gosh.
Well, the first thing I thought of was a Spaceballs reference, but I don't know if anyone gets that one, but I just saw it the other day. Larry, you got anything else?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're seeing a lot of it because we still sell stuff to commercial aviation. And in the Middle East and up around Ukraine, there's pilots who've sent stuff to us and go, look what happened to the GPS in my cockpit. And they're actually taking some of our little devices and putting them up in this escape hatch because our little devices actually have jamming and spoofing mitigation. And they're sitting there in their big 747, 767 with an iPad and a bad elf getting
Great.
better GPS.
It's awesome.
That's got to make you feel good, Larry. I know it does. That's like a use case of the year, right?
So my propeller on my head is spinning a little bit,
right?
But this is stuff that's happening, and you could go. There's a website. I don't remember what it is, but you go to this website and see where all the jamming and spoofing is taking place all over the Earth, and it's like, really,
Who's doing it?
a whole lot of bad actors.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing because, like I said, it's been mentioned at least 3 or 4 other times. So, Larry, thank you for this introduction. This has been great.
Maithreyi,
you.
Anything else?
For your time.
Anything else you want to get out there?
Oh, I so appreciate the time to talk with me. And I guess if there's any listeners that have some very low level data off their hardware that they're willing to provide for a little bit of testing, that would be wonderful. That would be kind of my ask.
How do they get a hold of you?
They can find me on probably LinkedIn. I can share my LinkedIn profile as well as my email address, Maithreyi.PrecisionTerra@gmail.com. Not fully formal yet, but I'm happy to share all that contact information and would love to get in touch.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So thank you so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thanks, Larry, for the introduction.
You bet.
Ganged up on again. Anyway,
Are we going here?
Yeah, we're going.
Oh, we're going. All right. So real quick, if you would, for us, hopefully I said that right. Just give us a real quick self-introduction, name, kind of who you're with, where you're from, and what you do.
All right. My name is Firas Fahoum. I'm from Nazareth, the city of Nazareth in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a licensed surveyor. I did a BSc in mapping and geoinformation in the Technion. I finished in 2020. And since then, I did my practice. And after that, I just went out to the field and I'm working since then.
So you've been working in the field since then?
Field, office, everything. Okay. It's a family business. My father is also a licensed surveyor.
Okay. Nice. Are you a second generation surveyor? All right.
Surveyor.
What is the process to become a licensed surveyor in Israel?
Well, in the most typical one, the one that is actually the obvious way, the main route to do that is to go to the Technion to do a BSc in mapping and geoinformation. You have to be a civil engineer to become a surveyor.
Whoa, hold on one second. Hold on. This guy here is a civil engineer.
Surveyor, civil engineer.
So where I'm from, it's part of the faculty of the civil engineering.
Oh, okay.
It's
As it should be, but that's my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. In recent years, they kind of changed it a bit. They gave another option of doing, if you have a degree in a related field, you can do a 2-year kind of courses and then go and apply for becoming a licensed surveyor. But you do have to do 2-year practice.
Okay.
And maybe like 2 exams similar to the FS and the PS, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like in Israel, do you have like here we have like sectionalized land? I don't know, like what is the cadastre in Israel? How is land divided?
Okay. Wow. So this is an interesting thing. We are based. It's a whole process. Historically, it started from the Ottoman Empire methods.
Okay.
And after that, it was all Tabu Kushan's thing. That's how it's called in Arabic.
Mm.
And after that, we moved to registration by the English system. When England had to oversee in 1948, Israel got its independence, and since then,
that's the story. Yeah,
it's a long story.
Yeah. No, it's good.
It was all over the place by the Turks because it was all written in books and not really manageable. And after that, the registration moved to the way that the UK operates.
Okay.
It's really similar to that.
And has there been historically, as those transitions have happened, it's issues that go with that?
Been a mess.
I can only imagine. Think of the records he's got to look at to do a boundary survey.
Just for the record, we haven't registered everything yet. We're about 99%, something like that. So everything should be finalized in the couple of next years, but this is a thing, cadastral map.
Wow.
And that's a relatively small country.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
like the size of Delaware. But
Yeah.
Small country, but it has a big bureaucracy.
oh, I couldn't imagine.
But the history that's there,
Oh,
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like, what are some of the oldest records you've seen?
Oh yeah. The Ottomans one. You can find some until today. You know, we sometimes base ourselves on maps from the 1927, 29, which were like, you can read the legend written with the head title Palestine, not Israel, because things changed over the years, and you still use those maps to cover things these days sometimes.
Wow. What kind of monuments do you guys normally find? Like, what did they use to mark the boundaries?
Well, there's plenty of those. I think mostly they're just like great in stone. Like, you know, they have the triangles and so. If you find those, you are lucky, usually. It was funny because one of the stories by my lecturers in the university back then was that when you wanted to talk about the boundaries of someone, you mention between that stone and that tree, and this is how they did things back then.
Yeah.
And after they moved to the chains and everything, things have changed over time.
Yeah.
And
what's the unit of measure right now?
Oh, it's meters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to do a lot of conversions.
We still use them in cadastral.
Okay.
So we have specific lists in Autodesk just for those purposes.
Nice. That's cool. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Israel with like wars and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what is it like surveying there?
Well, if you ask people at this point, they just really want things to be over. You know, it's just bad for business, bad for everything, bad for everyone.
Yeah.
But if we put that aside, we have the professional side that is also been challenging a bit, I must say.
Sure.
I had some stuff going on in the past year that made things much more difficult. I spoke with Larry earlier, and he knows some of the problems that we're facing, mainly jamming and spoofing by the military, because,
crazy.
The thing is that because of the missiles, the missiles war that's going on, one of the tactics that the military uses is spoofing and jamming, because this way you can make very accurate targets, not so very accurate, as we know. And the thing is that people, it's not just for us, the mapping community. If you open up your Waze or Google Maps, you want to go to work, you can find yourself in Egypt or in Lebanon because of the spoofing.
Oh, see, they never even think about that part.
Yeah, it's and do you see that professionals who know how to tackle these challenges or start learning to tackle these challenges move ahead in projects other than others?
So is there specific technologies or certain products that some of those are using to kind of get over the jamming and spoofing, or is it just an experience on how to deal with it?
Well, there are a couple of companies in Europe that brought technology that actually tackled really well against spoofing and jamming. Not everything, about 85% of them. But I must say that GNSS was not an option for the past year. It's not a solid option. You don't go to work only with the GPS. You can't go there and rely just on that. And also, the most challenging part, I must say, was the drone section. Because, surveyors became really dependent on the drone market in the past couple of years. You see that most people that got outside jobs, they would just go and fly their DJI or other kind of drone, and when they did that, they didn't expect that a war such as this size would make such an effect on their work on daily basis. I must say that ever since the war started, drone jobs stopped immediately as a would effect. I personally had an incredible issue. One time I was flying my drone. Let me give you a background.
Please.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So
This is great.
by law, the skies of Israel are owned by the military. So if you want to fly something, you got to get their permission. Now, they can give you permission. And when they give you permission, you can go and fly, but the consequences are on you.
Yeah.
One time,
They're giving you permission, but not coverage or clearance.
right. So, you got easy and good situations. I'm going to tell you a story about that. And then you get the hard situations that I don't wish anyone to face.
Yeah.
So one time I got permissions to fly over some parts of the city of Jerusalem for mapping purposes. It was for the authorities as well. But, you fly your drone, you go up, and then you see an Apache coming to you and using megaphone. And they're like, identify yourself now, or I don't know what,
Be removed from this earth.
I started doing these calls and just, please, guys, talk to them. I managed to save the drone in the last second. Yeah, and
Oh my gosh.
and this is the easy ones because nothing at the end of the day, no one got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are other situations where after a year and then, the escalation stopping each other, you see that even the jamming and the spoofing that the military used changed over time. It was a bit easy that you can, if you know a bit IT stuff, you can work against and you can still fly and, get done really quick before you finish the job.
Yeah.
And then you see that they started using really the hardcore stuff that they pull you down or they just take the drone and you can't do anything about it. There were more than, let's say, I've heard that there are more than 3 drones a day that were lost.
Jeez. Unreal.
Yeah.
What's your
Unreal.
what's your typical, what's in your toolbox? Like, what are you bringing out into the field on a regular day?
Well, it was much, these days I'm going to have to say I have a much different toolbox than last year.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, sometimes you can send a surveyor to the field and say, okay, you take a base and rover and you'll do a relative mapping. It's something you can manage yourself.
Yeah.
And I used to say that it was okay, but for technicians. But these days, you see that only the good surveyors stayed during the war because you have other stuff in toolbox. We use multi-stations, total stations, and stuff like that. And now these days, people are starting to change the drone for the SLAM products, for the SLAM scanners, because as you can see, they're really advanced in the past couple of years, and if you put one on one, they do have similarities in many ways. And this was one of the main changes that happened. I gotta admit, one time I did a stupid thing. I went to it was the beginning of the war, and you don't know your stuff too much, and it was 3 or 4 days afterwards, and we have already stuff going on. We have jobs to finish, and I went to work it was job for the authorities for railways, and you want to finish your job. So I took the drone, and every time I flew it, there were people that coming and stopping me over, asking for identifications. it was at the beginning okay. You can do and manage stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these days, I as you said, if you open up my trunk in the car, you'll find GPS, you'll find a total station, you'll find also very classical methods. It's just like sometimes if we find benchmarks, we start doing triangles with the normal ruler.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Wow.
So interesting. I can talk to him all day long.
Yeah.
These stories are incredible.
Thank you.
How's your experience been here at Geoweek so far?
Oh, it's really nice. It's my first time in Denver and in Colorado.
Nice.
It's beautiful here. It's much colder than the weather I'm.
Us too.
Yeah.
All right. I saw that you guys tomorrow.
It's much different.
Yeah.
So, do you ever think about maybe like moving to the States and working here?
Oh yeah. I did a podcast with Tim Birch.
Yeah.
And at the podcast, I mentioned that I'm actually considering.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My mother is actually an American citizen.
Okay.
My sister is as well, but I was a bit older when I wanted to do all the process. But yeah.
Hey, there we go.
It's awesome. I started even speaking to the NCES and everything. Yeah.
I wonder how much of your credits or whatever would transfer here to help you, accelerate getting licensed here.
It's interesting. I was actually surprised that, when we go, my university is called the Technion Institute of Technology. It's really based on, the idea of it was based on the idea of the MIT University.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's considered to be the best in Israel, and it's considered to have many publications and a high ranking worldwide and stuff like that. But when I went to do the accommodation stuff and everything, all the process, I found out that we are not, how do you call it? A beta accredited?
Yeah.
ABET. Yeah. So we're not on that list.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started a long process of mailing backward and they asked for each syllabus of each course. So I'm on that right now.
That's a huge undertaking. Yeah. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah, I do though believe that because of how professional and how strong the program that we took back home is, that it won't be such a big problem. Yeah, we did all the calculus and the hard stuff. And so.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what's your interest level in moving to Arizona?
Oh, wow. Hey, he hasn't decided a spot yet.
Hey,
no pressure.
I'm the first to ask.
I've met actually last year. I was in the FIG in Ghana. And I met a surveyor from Arizona. Her name was
Ferris. Yeah. She was there.
Yeah, and I must say, you guys have professionals over there.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Even like you guys.
Yeah, even us. Even guys like us can be professionals. Yeah.
Before we let you go, I'm just curious about, I know, like you said, everyone in Israel just kind of wants everything to get over. How do you see the importance of the surveying profession once, things start to rebuild and, kind of how do you see that in the next 5 years?
So I see us as a pivotal and very important part of just, it's every time the same thing. Every time there's bad things happening, every time you need to start from zero, surveyor is the first in and the last out. Surveyor is the base of every project, even if it's construction, GIS, or anything else. And I must say, usually my job at the company where I work is solving problems. Is they bring me usually in after they did
after something's already messed up. Yeah.
like, hey, we messed up. What can you do here?
You're like, just send me out the first time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, they never do. Right.
Oh, hey, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
it's been
really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. It's nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Yes, love the perspective, man. Thank you. We all do the same thing, but hearing it from your side is
enjoy Colorado for the next few days. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Nice meeting you guys.
Yep. Thank you.
See you in the Nuggets game tonight.
All right.